This is a Rick Tune 67, which at first glance looks like a normal Strat style guitar. But for those of you unaware, Rick Tune is a world-renowned luthier known for some of the most unique and innovative designs in modern guitar building. So why would he make a Strat? Well, this is why. As I hope you were able to hear, the 67 is equipped with an original tremolo that bends all of the strings in tune as far down as a fifth and as far up as a minor third. The tuning stability is great, it's incredibly smooth, and the design is impeccable. But before we get into the tremolo deep dive, let's briefly talk about the rest of this lovely guitar. It's of course based on a 1967 Strat, but it has all of the reliability and perks of a modern guitar. Goto vintage style locking tuners on a quarter sound maple neck with stainless steel frets and a 10 to 16 inch compound radius. The body is a lightweight piece of alder and it's also relic, and we also have these lovely DiMarzio noiseless single coil pickups. And that of course brings us back to the tremolo. The first thing you should know is that this bridge retains the same ease of use as a 2-point trem or a 6-screw design. There's springs in the back with a claw arm, and you can add springs or take away springs to change the tension, and you can use regular strings right through the body again like a normal tremolo. And then on the front we have our normal 6 individual saddles with height adjustments and intonation adjustments. So if you've ever used a 2-point trem or a 6-screw trem, this should all be very familiar to you. But then things get a little bit different. Most tremolos function by moving the entire bridge up or down on 2 stationary posts. By contrast, the surface of Rick's bridge doesn't move at all, and all of the string manipulation happens internally. This has a few major benefits. Since the surface doesn't move, you can press down on the bridge as hard as you'd like, and the pitch doesn't change. The entire surface is also completely smooth and comfortable, which will make this bridge really great for aggressive palm muters. And then as you use the whammy bar, the string height itself doesn't change whatsoever. Another great detail is the arm tightness adjustment screw. This is usually a tiny grub screw behind the whammy bar arm, but in this case, Rick uses a larger screw in the front of the tremolo arm. And this is definitely a very small detail, but the second I picked up the guitar and put the tremolo arm in, I noticed and appreciated that larger screw in the front of the bridge. And now we should talk about the pitch bending feature. As a quick example, I'm just going to play with a normal tremolo so you can hear how strings usually bend, and then I'll play you a few examples with the Rick tremolo so you can hear the difference. So as you heard, the strings move in a much more consistent, natural manner, and in my opinion, this is simply more musical. Now, a few of you are probably going to be thinking about Steinberger tremolos because back when they were being made, they could also bend strings completely in tune. In fact, I also own a Steinberger tremolo and I think it's fantastic. So this isn't about one being better or worse. Nonetheless, they are totally different designs, and I think a comparison with the Rick Tune tremolo will help to show why it's revolutionary. The Steinberger tremolo uses a ton of machinery, so much so that the entire guitar is basically designed around the bridge itself. And although it doesn't require special strings, in my experience it does work best with the calibrated strings, which cost a bit more money. There's also a pretty steep learning curve to using this bridge. It doesn't feel or function or tune like a normal bridge. It can lock in certain places, the arm feels different, and so on. Again, I think this is an amazing design, which is why I own one myself, but it's definitely a special bridge for special circumstances for specific people. And again, there is a very steep learning curve to learning how to use it. By comparison, the Rick-tuned tremolo fits in a normal Strat cavity, so if these become widely available, you won't have to carve a giant hole in your favorite guitar. It also works with all of your normal strings and you install them just like a normal guitar. And when you go to use the tremolo, there's zero learning curve. It just functions like every other tremolo you're familiar with. It just happens to be one of the most smooth and responsive tremolos you'll ever feel, and of course we have that pitch bend feature as well. Now, I've only had this guitar for a couple of days, but it immediately sparked a few new ideas for me personally. The first thing that I thought about was, of course, the chorus section in the song Lenny by Stevie Ray Vaughan, because there's a few moments with chromatic chords. Instead of playing the chords separately and sliding up the guitar, we can of course use the tremolo to bring the pitch higher or lower to match the particular chords. Thing that I love most about this tremolo. Even if you don't care about bending chords in tune, it just feels smoother, more responsive, and more musical than any other tremolo that I have personally tried. On top of that, we have the added stability of having the bridge stay in contact with the body, and we get all of that without sacrificing any ease of use.